WA3VJB. N2Dts WA3VJB.
Hello, Paul. How are you?
I'm fine. Rainy day. Just came out here when I saw the lightning map not showing enough to be concerned about. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Just playing around with the DIY rig. Hold on. Just trying to figure out why I only get about 800 watts PEP out of it. So when I took it apart and I replaced the two FETs that are in the pair of the one that I blew out. I was wondering whether they should have been replaced as a pair, and I was wondering what would happen if one was not working but was in circuit, etc. So I replaced them as a pair and put everything back together, and I still only get 800 watts PEP out of it before I guess the negative starts coming up. And I have a little, it's raining like crazy, so I have the SWR tuned out, but it still tripped out when I unkeyed. So WA3 VJB from N2Dts, having fun with solid state AM.
Yes. Yes, indeed. I wonder if those are the pink 40s that you've got in there, or perhaps some of the older stock that you had on hand. I remember you writing or saying somewhere that Bruce had recommended repairing them or replacing them in pairs. And it doesn't look like it made much difference as far as your PEP measurement is concerned. Probably some other power sharing parameter that he was considering when replacing them in pairs. I'm going in with Greg on his bulk order, by the way. I don't know if you're involved in that or not. He's going to order what appears to be 100 of the pink 40s. And I'm going to get 10 of them. Just put them on the shelf like I did the earlier production. And just keep them there. Yeah, I just came out here and ungrounded things. Had a lot of rain last night. It looks like this, the remnants of this tropical storm will be headed to the west of us here, so we won't take the brunt of it except as regards the northeast corner of the system, which often includes a lot of higher winds than elsewhere in the circulation pattern. And on another topic, I reminded you of the fire tower that you told us about here on the radio as far as a place to anchor a high wire for field operation. I wonder if that's been anything you've followed up on. I looked at the site, the actual permission site that it would take for visitors to that fire tower. I'm sure that's something you could probably follow up with if that's part of the zone that you go to there on the bike. Sounds like an interesting endeavor, especially as the weather heads toward cooler season. Good signal here into Annapolis. It's sounding fine. I don't know which microphone this is, but you've got the response dialed in nicely. And also here on the Super Senior this afternoon. N2Dts WA3 VGB VJB.
Oh, hold on one second. The antenna tuning is really off. I've got it down to nothing, but the controls are substantially different with the amount of rain it's really pouring out. But so far so good. Well, there's two fire towers. One is near Chatsworth, and it's at the top of one of the highest points in the Pine Barrens, and the other one is around Batstow, and both of them would be near, there's electricity running out to them, and they're not that far away from what could be electronic devices, so I don't know that I would specifically want to use those locations. I was more or less trying to find, figure out a way to get some place that is like 30 miles from the nearest electrical apparatus, appliance, power lines, or anything like that. So and I don't think they would probably, it used to be able to, you could climb up there, and it's sometimes like when the guy was there, stationed there watching for fires, they would let you up there and they would talk to you and everything. And I imagine you could have, used that tower for an operating position, if they weren't there. But I think they put fences up around them. I think they're a little bit more restricted because the kids will be jumping off them or doing dumb things that kids do, and we can't have kids doing dumb things anymore. So they have to prevent them from doing dumb things, and adults from doing dumb ham radio things. I don't know. I ordered like a telescoping fiberglass mast. It's like 36 feet or something, and it's supposed to be very sturdy. And there was also, I saw really good reviews on an N-fed antenna that is 40 through 10, but it's weird. It's 60 feet long, and then it has a small, like 5-turn coil in it somewhere, and it also has like an at the transmitting point, and it's supposed to be very efficient and so on. And it gets really good reviews. People say it works really well. It's a sloper, so you only need like one support. But 60 feet is pretty long and that's for 40 meters. It seems maybe there's some gain with it, but that seems might be a little harder to do, to get 60 feet length above ground in some spots. So, but I mean a dipole would be 60 feet, so possibly that would be a good thing. And I could go out to a remote spot and throw it up in a tree in one end and leave it there to where nobody's going to be around. And then I could cruise out there on the motorcycle and hook up to it and operate, and maybe do an AM Pine Barrens on the air thing, and I could have a whole contest started. So good luck in the contest, Paul. I was out riding there today in the rain. It was really nice out there in the Pine Barrens, all foggy and rainy, and the smells you get and the firm sand, and no one was around. It was really nice. And then I came home and it poured like crazy. I guess it still is. WA3 VJB from N2Dts Ss, now with quality DIY audio.
I like that. And it is quality DIY audio. N2Dts WA3VJB. Nice transmission, too. Very easy listening. I didn't catch what microphone you might be on, but I presume you're also on the Max audio processor. Looking at your passband, it's nice and healthy. Sounds good. I had you at 4,900 and then all the way open to 6. And there wasn't much difference, so I guess you've got it rolled off at 3, maybe toward 4. I'm running a little bit more than that, but there wasn't much difference when I opened it up on yourself. And yeah, very good on the wanting to avoid the electronic interference potential of anything that's got electricity wired to it. I guess what I was thinking with the fire towers is that you'd get the altitude that you could use for signal propagation. And you had access, you could get out there on the bike. But yeah, it would be even better to be out in the middle of nowhere, 30 miles from any source of electronic interference. I presume you'd be thinking of taking the Wolf, the little portable transceiver. Man, I wish I could just buy and have one of them without all the potential programming issues and whatnot. I've seen a documentation website for that rig. I suppose you're aware of it. Somebody has gone through and documented the functions of the thing, how to get whatever you want out of it. But I also notice in some of the discussion forums, including one of the ones that's dedicated to the Wolf on Facebook, where I posted some of your aircheck recordings of how yours sounds on AM, much to the great delight of those who participate in that forum. It's like, wow, it sounds good. And they're asking me, what did he do? And it's like, I don't know. I'm just a passerby, I'm just listening. SWL. So if you ever get any weird emails saying, hey, I heard your recording, it's probably something I did. Take it from there. But regardless, that's a cool little radio, and I know you're pretty connected with it right now, and you're not planning on selling it like you do so many of your other experiments. I presume that's also the one you would take portable, because it's got both the power and the modes to take advantage of the scene. Yeah, I like going portable. I have only the Nuvo 75 right now, and I'm somewhat skeptical that we'll ever see a Nuvo 40, which would be more practical for that kind of an application. The guys kind of put me off and put off the others who have expressed interest in a Nuvo 40. Plus, the power level is such that, it's still an issue. 5 or 6 watts, even on 40 meters, although you'll get heard better than you would on 75 meters. I would still consider a bridging amp of some kind that also could be powered off a gel cell. Get it up to at least 25 or 30 watts with 5 watts of drive to be heard with a compromised antenna. So yeah, keep me posted on your endeavors there, Fred. That'll be cool. And I wonder, again, if you're running the pink 40s or whether you're running some sort of older stock in there, and whether you're in on Greg's offer to buy them in quantities to keep a set on shelf. Yeah. I've enjoyed some of the barbs and criticisms and concerns expressed on that Super Senior thread on QRZ.com. It's pretty funny to watch. I know you've gone through a number of tribulations, but I was kind of disappointed to see that Chip W1CME has also had some problems. His being a broadcast engineer, I think he had high technical expectations for the rig. And to be kind of let down by its failure here most recently has to kind of sting, but I understand he will be sending his back to Bruce for repairs and to address anything that might be amiss. And I guess that's the status of Chip. You probably worked him, I'm sure. Pretty W1CME. He got his back January, February or so, and before now had been quite pleased with it. I heard somebody a little bit up frequency testing too, so you might drag your feet. They were on 7291 or 91.5 or so. But otherwise, yeah, conditions here are heavy rain, not a lot of wind, no change in my SWR profile, so we're doing high fine business. N2Dts WA3 VJB, back to you, Brett.
LGQ off frequency.
Okay, I heard somebody, but I switched over to the screen modulated transmitter. Just to see what that's doing. And boy, that tuning on that's off too. A lot of carrier, not as much peak power. So that's a loading control. Oh, loaded up a little heavy. That's better. That's a little bit better. Alright, WA3VJB from N2Dts. There's a little bit more power out of this transmitter, the way it's adjusted at the moment. Well, I've got the max in the medium bandwidth. I can go wide. There isn't any reason not to, because there's not really much on the band. I have 15 spare FETs, so I'm not going to order any more. If I run out of FETs, then I'm really in trouble, aren't I? With 15 on hand. Boy, I really feel like sending you the Wolf for trying out and all to get an appreciation. And it's a leap of faith, you know. It's only a smart idea to get one if you have disposable income that you don't mind tossing at a radio that may become a doorstop more than anything else. So, you know, that might, you know, it's not everybody's cup of tea. But man, it sure does work well on AM. And there wasn't a whole lot of stuff. I mean, like any SDR, there's a lot of options. You know, how you want the screen to look, the colors, whether you want things, you know, the fill, what color. There's, you got to turn on general coverage transmit, because mine came with European ham band frequencies. There's EQ in there for each mode, and you know, you tweak that for the microphone that you're going to use, and that's kind of limited. It's a little limited because they don't give you like 4K. I think the highest frequency you can EQ is 32. So, you know, that's a little bit of a limitation, but you can dial up whatever bandwidth you want, which is kind of cool. And there's some other things with the receiver that you know, for optimal use you might play with, and there's some things that I don't quite understand, so I don't mess with them. But for what it can do for its size, it has a really good antenna tuner, so, you know, as a portable rig, that's an advantage. It actually puts out more than 100 watts. I'd say, like, you know, peak it's probably 135 or 140 watts. I'm waiting to get my LP 100, and you know, I'll find out. I'll calibrate everything, and I'll find out just what actually the power these things are putting out. You know, the low end is here. I put been fooling around with the shack. I put the plate modulated 4-125 rig in service. I was using that a lot earlier. Fidelity's a little so-so because you know, the T368 modulation transformer. But you know, it's fun rig. It sounds clean anyway. Just playing around with some screen modulation adjustments. Oh, and another rig that, you know, is in the 5-watt class is the Zygo, as what's his name would say, Brian. Zygo. That's 5 watts, 20 watts, and I don't know how it sounds on transmit on AM, but it's really small, very portable, has a good antenna tuner. But yeah, you want 25 watts, which isn't a lot of power. Then yeah, you got to get a 100-watt rig, and the Wolf will do 35. I got a nice big lithium polymer battery that I could use with it. So in the fall, when the bugs go away, I might experiment. So there might be a breaker in there. It can't be on too long. I gotta cook dinner. And but there's somebody else was slightly above frequency. I didn't get the call. Maybe you did there, Paul. So I'll turn it over to them. This is Brett, N2Dts. We're located in southern New Jersey, running at the moment a homebrew screen modulated transmitter. So over to the breaker, turn it over to Paul, WA3BJB from N2Dts, now with screen modulation.
I thought it was Larry in there, but nothing heard. Who was that? K4DBK also checked in.
I'm not hearing anything.
No, me either. Two different stations, but conditions are a little bit weird right now. N2Dts, WA3VJB. Yeah, I think you've got an adequate number of FETs on hand. I think Greg took it upon himself to try to get a quantity discount for those in the thread who were, and other bystanders who were kind of concerned about it. But these successors to the original chip that Bruce was using have been endorsed by Bruce as being so close that no changes are needed to the surrounding circuitry of the Super Senior. That's good enough for me. I do have a set of the metal housing FETs that were an option this whole time, with a set of mica insulators to ensure a kind of a safety margin. And I've got a set of the originals as well. I was taking some criticism from Ernie there, KD2PRM, who was kind of up and down criticizing the Super Senior. It's like, I'd never have a rig like that. Kind of like, what's his name? You know, the guy in the Midwest, UR. Is it K9 UR? Maybe K8 UR. No, it's a K9. And it's like, I'd never have one of them. You know, why can't it stand SWR? Why can't it do this? Why can't it not fail? And he was up and down. It's like, I never knew you wanted one. Well, you know, I've never seen that he actually does. I think he just wants to piss and moan. It's like, that's a terrible radio. But then, you know, you get the other side of this that I'm a little reluctant to address. But the whole Class E mentality was much the same way, where people who built the Class E type rigs were very defensive about the crap out rate. And at least one operator I know of had a backup radio at the ready, so that when he would have a crap out, he would fire up the second one and say, I guess I had a safety protection shutdown. And when actually he'd had a crap out, But instead of, admitting it, he just put on a second rig and would hide the failure. It's like, I'm not into that, Super Senior's picky, I'm glad to say it, as a way of forewarning and forearming those who might want to buy it and just plug and play. It's not plug and play. And I think once you receive the feedback that you need to do a few things in your station, and of course you were instrumental in the idea that it's a diagnostic tool. I think that was a great way of putting it. And it's like, if you've got any shortcoming in your antenna transmission system, this rig will tell you. Either by the fault protection trip or a FET crap out. I've now got 4 wire tuners around here, none of which I'm using, but that were purchased to try to adapt the antenna system previous to the demands of the Super Senior. When all of that went out the window, when I just said, look, let's build an antenna that makes the transmitter happy, and thus it's been. So yeah, let's see who's on the side there, Brett. Let me know when you need to hit the door and cook dinner. I just had myself a Warlock Imperial Pumpkin Stout. These are usually seasonal and brewed in conjunction with Halloween. And I bought some of the last stock that was at our local liquor store because I like the actual pumpkin flavoring element of what otherwise is a basic Imperial Stout. And then you can't get it until the following October, which is a couple of months away. So this is new old stock stout that I just finished up. And it provides a wonderful glow. N2Dts and any other stations from WA3VJB.
I think I heard Dennis, but he's away in the noise level. He has to get that bigger rig working. WA3VJB with K4 DBK from N2Dts. Well, with the heat, I have indulged in some Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, which I kind of like. After a hot ride in the Pine Barrens or mowing the lawn or some other endeavor that makes me really thirsty, I'll have 1 or 2 of those. There's so many out now that, man, I don't know. You could really spend a lot of time trying all kinds of brews. So I go with that. I go with Yang Lager and Molson Golden sometimes. That's our variety. But okay, well, Clark always has adamantly said that you need a tuner with the DYY or any other Class D or E transmitter. He says that's the output network is the tuner. So I don't know. I think it's probably not a bad idea, but I don't really know what the harmonic output looks like, how pure it is. And you could probably look at that on an SDR. I haven't really noticed like the second harmonic and all that on mine. I should scope that out. So you're violating one of Clark's rules. So I bought one of those Rolls preamps, the HR11C, right? I got it on eBay from I guess a store selling surplus audio gear, and it was okay shape, but a lot of the controls are very scratchy. And I got my deoxit gold out there and did it up, and but it seems to have a lot of noise in it, like just background noise. Like when you turn the gain up, there's a lot of noise. You might tell me if that's any kind of normal. And I think with the dynamic mic, these mics that I'm using, the ones I always use, the Audio-Technica M8000, I got to turn up the gain like fairly high in order to get a good drive, and then I get even with a short microphone cord, I get a balanced, I'll use the balanced ports. I get a lot of inherent, it sounds like chip noise, So you might comment if you find that is something normal with that, or if something's, I don't know what would actually cause that, it would go bad. I could see other things happening when caps go bad or whatever, but not just a hiss, background hiss kind of noise. But it does work, so I was going to play around with it. I think I plugged it into the Wolf and was trying to EQ things a little bit more, but and then I was having two EQs at the same time, which I'd have to turn the Wolf EQ off, and then so I got to do more experimenting. So that's all I have. For all the complaints that people have, there's quite a few DIYs on the air, actually, isn't there? There are quite a few of them on the air, actually, in use, if you listen. And I think there's probably more on 160 and 80 than there is on 40, but I remember quite a few people running them on 80 when that was the band, to be on. So, anyway, I don't know if you're hearing Dennis, or I'll be able to hear him. But we'll turn it over to him, and you can turn it over to Paul there, Dennis, if you're hearing me, because the band's just not woken up. And man, I think it's really coming down here. There's no water in the basement, so that's good. K4 DBK with WA3VJB from N2Dts.
Right, N2Dts in the group, K4DBK. Yeah, it's just testing this other radio I told you about, the Raytheon boat radio, I call it, which is really a Japan radio corp, probably a JST 125 or something like that when you open it up and look at the card cage they took right out of a Japan radio corp HF rig, and put a different interface on it. But anyway, I just wanted to drop by straight on, let you guys just get a little input on this. Again, it's probably, I suspect it's AME. I don't have a spectrum analyzer set up, so I suspect it's upper sideband with carrier. So I'll turn it over to WA3VJB and see what you guys think there. Probably not too much to it.
Yeah, hi Dennis. Yeah, I'm looking at your waveform on one of the Kiwi SDRs, and there looks like there's a little bit of unsuppressed lower sideband, but predominantly upper sideband with carrier, K4DBK on the Raytheon JRC from WA3VJB. I mean, this sounds, kind of pinched like you would expect from a marine radio, or I guess it's a marine HF radio. But Japan Radio Corp, known for the NRC 515, 525, some really nice receivers. Probably put a lot into the Raytheon version of their rig, because Raytheon itself was a premium brand for the maritime radio market. And you could probably open up the passband if you ever wanted to get in there and make the audio sound a little bit better. But yeah, it sounds fine to me as far as, readability is concerned. Signal stability. Congratulations on bringing it on the air here if it's one of the first times. Certainly ride along with us if you wish. A couple of things to Brett. I don't particularly remember any circuit noise in the HR11C, and I'm aware of what that sounds like because one of the older Shure mixers, the M67, as well as the FP32A, which is a field mixer, actually advised the user to turn down the master gain control and turn up the individual channel amps to minimize the amount of circuit noise that would be at the output. And I did some experiments to hear what they were talking about, and sure enough, they were exactly right. If you had the master gain up and the individual channel pot down, you'd hear a lot more hiss than the other way around. So I know what to listen for, and I can't say I've ever noticed that in the HR11C, where most recently I've used it on the Nuvo 75, but before that I was using it on, what rig would that have been? Maybe the 32V2. And it did fine. Now, I was always running it at line level input, so I don't know whether this noise that you cite is at the mic level, and maybe driving it at line level would get around that. I don't think I've ever bolted a mic up directly to it. It's always coming off a board or something here. But yeah, that would be a significant concern. Of course, the scratchy parts, that's just a maintenance issue. It's probably from a smoking environment or somewhere sitting around for a while. But I'm glad you landed one of those because they've been out of production for a few years. Probably got it at a good price too because they're not well known. But the versatility of it, and of course the physically small size of the thing. I saw it as immediately a companion to the Nuvo 75 because they both run off 12 volts. They're both small. And the conjunction of the compressor and equalization in the HR11C can make the most out of the 5 watts of the Nuvo 75. So that's why I was attracted to it. So yeah, past that I don't have much more to offer. And yeah, I wish I could have gotten from Bruce at least a generic reaction to my question as to whether the 160/80 version of the Super Senior or the 80/40 model has been more popular in the 10 or 11 years that it's been on the market. I don't think that's proprietary, but he's concerned about protecting the market that he is addressing, even though no one else seems to be his competitor. And he wouldn't tell me whether one model is more numerous than the other, even though the 160/80 has about a year's lead time on the 80/40. And yeah, I do encounter them more often than I would have expected from his lack of promotion and advertising. It all seems to be word of mouth. I mean, there have been a number of reviews now that have been out there, including EHAM, which is looked toward as a resource for people who might investigate the things. I think we've got about 100 people enrolled in the Facebook page that's dedicated to the KE7DYY transmitter, which would include those earlier than the Super Senior, but mostly Super Seniors. So yeah, I just hope that the viability of the radio itself continues. He'll continue to build them. He told me as much. I just don't think he has much appetite to modify it much past what you get right now. And then with the chip substitution that ensures viability in the years ahead, kind of go with it from there. So I just got a message from Pam in the house that she's home. I guess we're going to have to feed these dogs and prepare for our own dinner. I've got some spring or summer corn to shuck, some of the white corn, sweet corn, and it's going to be good. We've got a what do they call them? Canary melon that we cut up yesterday. It's kind of a cantaloupe, but much sweeter, has a canary yellow skin, very, very good. And I don't know, she might be planting some tomatoes and mozzarella as a caprice with some fresh basil that our friend Heather has picked from their yard. And although I've already downed my Imperial Ale, your Sierra Nevada and Yingling and the Molson Golden all have been those that I've tasted in the past. Yeah, I know. I just like a more substantial taste. And the stouts seem to be my thing. So tie the ribbons on it, Brett, and we'll look for you again, maybe as early as tomorrow morning, although I've got an annual physical I got to do, so maybe after that, if the band cooperates. I want to make sure I'm staying healthy and long-lived. So far, so good. N2Dts with K4DBK on the side, WA3VJB.
Okay, WA3VJB. Yeah, it is raining cats and dogs here. Or at least a lot of water, man. It's really coming down. SWR is up to 1.3 to 1. Maybe a little more, so... yeah, I wonder if you have an alternative transmitter there, Paul, for 40 meters besides the, the DYY. I know you had, I think you had a broadcast transmitter, but I'm not sure if it's multi-band capable or what. And I guess summertime you're exclusively using the K7 transmitter, I guess. So, just real quick, do you have alternative methods of generating RF on 40 meters there, Paul?
Oh, yeah, I've actually somewhat invisibly gone back and forth between the Collins 300G and the Super Senior, not really announcing which one I'm on. And they're both at the 250 watt level, and they both use the same audio chain, so you just never know. Today happens to be the Super Senior rather than the Collins, but I'll tell you the next time I'm on it.
Oh, okay. Well, then you could have a crap out and not acknowledge it, right? Just like some of the other guys, but no, I don't think you would. Okay, I was just kind of curious. So I have many alternatives here, so I don't worry about crap outs at all. Give me something to do, I guess, but yeah, I suspect there's a lot of them on the air. I think he sold quite a few. I think he probably has, the design is kind of finalized. He's got all the boards, and he orders, probably a bunch of parts and enclosures and all that. And I guess the chances of a major modification would be very, very slim, because all that would be out the window and all. So, and I'm kind of surprised he came out with an 8040, but I'm glad he did. I'm gonna have to figure out. I hate to bug him. I'm gonna post about, what I did and why I only get 800 watts, but I'm gonna wait until I get my fancy watt meter to have a place of strength to comment from if my my power output is will be calibrated to a Bureau of Standards. Anyway, we'll let you go there, Paul. You're going to have spaghetti with meatballs for the wife, spaghetti with sausage for me. I'll have a green leafy vegetable and some garlic bread and maybe a salad as the rain comes down like crazy. 73 is always a pleasure. Glad you gave me a call. WA3VJB with WK4DBK on, I guess, the Raytheon. He got that working. Because he was on the Sun Air. They make some pretty interesting looking rigs, but they're all communications, military communications rigs, I guess. So fidelity is out the window, but reliability is there. 73s, N2Dts, clear with the frequency. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, see you later, Brett. And Dennis, take care of yourself. WA3VJB.
Late for the party. KB1VWC.
Oh, yeah.
Hello there.
Hello, Brett. Hello, Paul. Paul probably can't hear me, because I could barely hear Dennis at all. Anyway, good afternoon, gentlemen. I know both of you were signing. No rain here up on Cape Cod, just a cloudy kind of raw day up here. Anyway, we'll catch you guys next time. Hope all is well. KB1VWC.
Wow. What a signal. You're really loud. Like, I had to turn the volume down.
I'm running the range 40 watts or so. You know, the bench setup.
Oh, are you doing something with the audio that makes it like really loud and compressed, or overmodulating, or what? Because you're like really loud.
The Ranger obviously has been massaged a little bit, but no, nothing. There is no outboard audio chain, sir.
Wow, that's really impressive. I wish I could get a rig with a D104 to sound as good as that. And I think I don't have a D104 as good as that. It's been dropped a few too many times, or spit into it or something. But man, and I've been working Paul, and Paul's signal was pretty good, and Dennis is like, he was in the noise level, but whatever. And then you came on. I had to turn the volume down because he was so freaking loud.
Okay, the check's in the mail there, Bob. I do appreciate that one. And yeah, the Yinglings and stuff are okay. Paul, I can't do a stout in the summer or anything like that. That's just too heavy a beer. Believe it or not, I've been drinking some Coronas with lime on a hot summer day. What can I say? I know. Whipped me badly. Anyway, we'll catch you guys later. And thanks again, Brett, for the flowers on the audio. But no, it's just it's a Ranger one that I actually, when I restored it, I hollowed out all the paper capacitors and stuck bigger value tubular polyester ones inside them, and then refilled them up with beeswax. So if you open the thing, it still looks like a stock Ranger. It just isn't anymore, if you know what I mean. I went that crazy route because this thing had never been molested by anybody, if you know what I mean.
Okay, I had to turn the scope on. Yeah, you got a lot of audio on the carrier. A lot of audio, so I don't know what you're doing, but man, it's working.
It doesn't have 1614s in it. It does have 6L6 GCs, but nope, nothing else, man, nothing else. This is it's a D104, but it's got a Kobe tone ceramic element in it, because although I have a bunch of other heads like you, most of the time people say they don't sound very good, and somehow I managed to score a pair of Kobitone elements before Kobitone stopped making the ceramic elements anymore. So that's the only difference here.
Well, it's very interesting on the scope, looking at it. I got the scope hanging off the IF of the receiver, and if you close down the carrier, it's like not much and not often, but you're way over 100% positive. I think way over 100% positive. So I think you're phased correctly.
Yeah, I know if I flip the microphone phase around, boy, it doesn't look very good. I'm watching on my Ho-Ho 10 monitor scope here, which I had to fix the other day because the CRT socket itself, the pins had all become unsoldered from the CRT, and the glue had failed. So, you know, you whacked the cabinet and the filament kind of came back to life, and it was just getting very annoying. So that was a major undertaking to remove the CRT out of the thing and then clean all the pins out, all the solder out of all the pins, and get everyone all back in there, because it's a 12-pin socket, but it's a 10 pins on the actual CRT, so you got to make sure you got the dead ones in the right place and all that stuff. And then resoldered it all up and re-cemented the Bakelite socket to the tube and stuck it all back together. So hopefully this thing will not fail me again. But you know,